Welcome back. It's not what you do, it's how you do it, or so the saying goes. Senator Joachim Henry says the approach taken by MP for Castries Southeast Guy Joseph in the ongoing partial strike by millet minibus drivers is a clear example of arrogance at its finest. Henry says further the $1.6 million budget did not make accommodation for the resurfacing of the Bel Air or Venus Road, and now people are demanding resolve, and rightly so.
Residents of Venus Estate and Bel Air say that they are the unfortunate pawns in the chess game to get officials to fix the roads. The residents now have to traverse the road by foot or rely on the kindness of a stranger with a vehicle going in the same direction. While MP for Castries Southeast Guy Joseph sought to give a quick fix to the issue by providing a shuttle bus for the Bel Air community in the interim, Senator Joachim Henry says the action might be too little too late.
As it relates to the Bel Air Road, certainly the road has been in a terrible condition for a while. The action by minibus drivers, and of course all of us are concerned about the residents, and of course the state of the road and how people commute. There are some challenges that has been going on for the longest while, and the parliamentary representative being former president of the transport, the transport board or whatever it is relating to the minibus association, that is, at least I thought would have resolved the issue of transportation in Bel Air since he first entered politics, but that continued to exist. The response by the minibus drivers, I understand. The issue with the road, the state of the road, is not good. What I think is the main problem is how the parliamentary representative approach the issue. Politicians must understand always that it is the people that are the boss and they are servants. And very early in the financial year, the parliamentary representative should have informed the people of Bel Air his plans for the community, and do not wait until people react and then speak about it in the way that it did.
Henry says immediate action should have been taken with the road network following the strike by the drivers. He then highlights the budget address made by Joseph and says the forgotten community of Bel Air was not a priority in the budget. Furthermore, Henry came to the defense of President of the Millet Minibus Association, Cyprian Yard, who became the target of MP for Ancillary Dominic Fede, who insinuated that Yard is playing politics with this matter.
I know the gentleman, Cyprian Yard. He's a man of integrity. I know him long before politics, and he's been consistently that kind of person. Anybody who's been in Bel Air would react. The road has been in a terrible condition for the longest while. It's a place almost people feel that they are forgotten, you know. And yes, if there are plans for the Bel Air Road, the parliamentary representative, at the time after budget is presented and all the plans of government is outlined, the entire constituency should know how they are featured in the government plans, when are the roads going to be built, what is the time frame, and everything, and you have that kind of discussion with the entire constituency. So I have a difficulty with this sort of bossy type of representation, whereas you are being paid to represent the people in Castries Southeast. You're not their bosses, they are your boss, they're the one who put you there. So the parliamentary representative must subject himself to the people.
Henry says a power play never ends well for leaders. He says it will serve both MPs well to not forget that the people are the ones with the power and not the other way around. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Solange Alfred.
With the ongoing debate over whether milk, as they say, does the body good, Chief Nutritionist Lisa Hunt says this is not the case, as cow and other animal milk is not a necessity for human consumption. On the other hand, whilst disclosing the numerous disadvantages of consuming animal milk, Hunt says she is not going to condemn milk consumption, as it's a case of to each his own.
The consumption of dairy products, cow's milk in particular, has become controversial in recent times. Dairy products were long touted by health officials as essential for the development of strong bones and teeth, especially in children. However, opinions on the nutritional value of cow's milk are changing. Researchers now point out that not only are humans the only species that consume milk in adulthood, but they are also the only species to drink the milk of other animals. One common argument says that human consumption of cow's milk is unnatural. The island's chief nutritionist with the Ministry of Health, Lisa Hunt, is weighing in on the debate over cow's milk and whether it is good for human consumption.
I think the issue with milk is a lot of people don't digest the protein very well, and so it causes allergies and issues. Even when you are breastfeeding, a mother is discouraged to drink cow's milk, because the child can actually get the allergies from the mother while breastfeeding. Yes, so you can do without cow's milk. I mean, there are other alternatives now. You have almond milk, you have coconut milk, which I give my children. And so there are alternatives. So it's a personal choice. People just have to be informed. However, if you're allergic to it or you are intolerant to cow's milk, stay away from it.
Many studies document how human genetics develop based on diet, making certain races more genetically equipped to digest cow's milk. The highest levels of lactose intolerance are recorded in African, Asian, and Southern American countries. Some researchers suggest that consumption of cow's milk is problematic mostly to people of color.
The issue I have about milk nowadays is the way it is produced, because there is so much hormones that is injected into animals, and this is the issue now. So when those hormones are injected into animals, it can cause health problems. And so through the milk, you can get, I don't want to gross anybody out, but there's a lot of compounds that can come out of that milk. And so this is why organic might be better. So it's a personal choice if you choose not to drink milk or not. However, the way it is produced is not as healthy as what we had before. We have our cows and we'll milk from our cows.
Hunt says she will not discourage anyone from the consumption of dairy products, as the choice of one's diet is a personal choice. No major health complications have been associated with milk consumption outside the possibility of allergies. However, she underscores that the consumption of cow's milk is not a necessity to the human diet. For Hot 7 News, I am Jacques Wooding.
Mold affects air quality and can lead to a host of health problems. However, the level of public knowledge and action to address mold issues in homes and workplaces leaves much to be desired. One company has taken on the mandate to increase awareness about mold and just how dangerous it can be, in a bid to encourage people to be proactive about the matter.
September is Mold Awareness Month. Here in St. Lucia, the company H&L Environmental Services is spearheading an awareness campaign to bring to light how mold affects indoor air quality and overall health. Mold is a type of fungus. People are exposed to mold every day. Outdoor molds play an important role in nature, breaking down dead leaves, plants, and trees. In small amounts, mold spores are usually harmless, but when they grow significantly in your indoor environment, it can spell big problems for your health, like asthma and respiratory allergies. Managing Director of H&L Environmental Services, Millens Herman, says the company recognized the need to improve public sensitization about the dangers of mold and has therefore organized activities to commemorate Mold Awareness Month.
Number one is our pop-ups that we have. Well, we've had one on the Boulevard, we've had one in Vieux-Fort. We're going to have one in Rodney Bay. And the other thing that we're going to do, we're going to have some conference, which is free and open to the public. It's on the 27th of September. And the conference will go in a bit more detail as to the impacts of mold and how you go about resolving mold problems. We also have some infomercials that we're putting out on Facebook and on the media, ranging from different topics that we have. One of them is what is mold, the impacts of mold. We also have prevention and some other topics that we have in line for that. We also have Mold of the Week that we always post on our website and Facebook as well. So we look at one type of mold because there are millions of mold types. So every week we have a blog post that we always put up on our website, www.hnles.com, that you can get some information on mold. Our website is loaded with a lot of information, especially when it comes to mold.
Herman laments that many people do not take the issue of mold as seriously as they should. In our local setting, the issue is evidenced by the number of shutdowns or relocations of government departments or private businesses due to mold infestation and poor air quality. Herman says testing, prevention, or treatment of mold is much cheaper for any business in the long run.
I think generally it has to do with the management in itself really not understanding that mold really impacts on productivity. Well, not just mold, but poor indoor air quality. It really impacts on productivity. And the point about that is that persons, especially employers, they tend to lose a lot. Because if you have loss of productivity or persons always coming in sick, calling sick, or you have industrial actions, that will hinder profitability. And what we try and encourage employers and persons responsible, especially in the public sector, is to be proactive when it comes to indoor air quality. Test to see if there's a problem, or test to see if your environment encourages poor indoor air quality. And that's our motive, proactive. And it will cost you less to be proactive than to wait for the problem to fester.
Excess moisture in the air promotes the growth of mold. Mold growth, which often looks like spots, can be many different colors and can smell musty. If you can see or smell mold, a health risk may be present. Mold will grow in places with a lot of moisture, such as around leaks in roofs, windows, or pipes, or where there has been flooding. Mold also grows well on paper products, ceiling tiles, and wood products. No matter the type of mold present, you should remove it.
Tourism Minister Dominic Fede is seemingly taking a laid-back approach on the pressing topic of cannabis decriminalization. Fede says there should be no rush to follow suit to sister islands who have capitalized off the plant, saying there are proven adverse effects to the move. Instead, he says a more responsible approach should be taken on the matter.
Minister with responsibility for tourism Dominic Fede is in no hurry to see cannabis decriminalized in St. Lucia. During a Monday morning pre-cabinet press brief, Fede expressed concerns with the adverse effects of cannabis decriminalization in the region, especially on the youth of the affected nations. The minister indicated that St. Lucia should not be too hasty to jump onto the bandwagon before revising the matter carefully.
I think you've got to take your time because when you look at what's happening, in fact, in the case of Jamaica, they have reported an increase in the amount of narcotic cases of abuse, especially among teenagers. So you've got to make sure that you've got the regulatory framework in place to deal with such a policy shift whereby you would have heightened participation by not just the general public, but also from your tourism public as well. And you have to look at what the possible ramifications are and make sure that you properly analyze the risk.
Fede said although he is no cannabis expert, he is holding on to hopes that his colleagues approach the issue responsibly and carefully. He said, on the other hand, the ball is rolling on the subject matter.
The Cabinet of Ministers are doing everything we can to make sure that we explore the possibilities that are available, but as well balance the opportunities with the risk associated with it. The head person in our cabinet is Minister Bradley Phillips, who has been tasked by cabinet to appoint a new commission to take a very responsible approach to the development of such an industry. So the key there is responsible approach.
On Monday, the 29th of July 2019, Cabinet approved the establishment of a Cannabis Commission, which is set to review and make recommendations on the regulatory framework for the plant. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I'm Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. The National Sports Academy has been touted as a beacon in the sporting and academic world, looking to provide top-class athletes with an institution specially designed for their grooming and development, with hopes of getting them scholarships to further their sporting careers. When the 2019 school year came around, it was very apparent that officials were not ready to commence with the operations at the academy in Grosley. 2 delays later, temporary housing was assigned at the Pastoral Center. In the interim, the location at the former Grosley Secondary School is being retrofitted for dorms. The news has left many scratching their heads about the National Sports Academy. Former principal of the Miku Secondary School and opposition Senator Gideon Ferdinand says with no clear concept outlined for the Sports Academy, it has become a waiting game for all interested parties.
A key component of anything like this is the actual accommodation of the students. But so if you're not even ready to house people, then why are you saying that you're opening? That's one. The other main issue for me is I'm not sure that the government is clear about the concept. Is it an academy? Is it a part-time, full-time boarding school? What is it? I don't want to delve too much into the alternative for it at this time because I still don't know what it is. But as soon as the government becomes very clear about what they want to do, I'll be willing to share my own views on what I think it ought to be. But for now, let's wait to see if they can really come up with a clear concept. Because right now, I don't think they do.
Outside the House of Assembly on Tuesday, the 17th of September, the media awaited the arrival of Education Minister Dr. Gail Rigobert in a bid to get an update on the academy. However, the wait was in vain. As it stands, the students of the National Sports Academy are temporarily placed at the Pastoral Center in Marisil. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.